That's a good question. So the question was, when was the first application of lasers in a dermatological sense, and then maybe what does the future hold? Since the beginning in, say, 1960, when lasers were invented, they were always a solution in search of a problem. That's a famous quote in our industry. So people made lasers. They really didn't know what to do with them. Of course, the military grabbed onto it right away and thought that was going to be the next weapon system. And here 50 years later, we're still almost to that point. I can't give you an exact date. That's a good question. I would say that it would have to have been when lasers approached a reasonable power level. Some of the early CO2 lasers accomplished, let's just say, a nominal power level, maybe an effective power level, probably in early 70s. So I would suspect that we've got a good 30, 40 years of dermatological applications for that. As far as what we see in the future, boy, if I knew that, I'd probably go in business. I think we'll probably see some of the longer wavelengths of light. You've heard a lot about UV light below 400 nanometers. That's how we divide up this light spectrum, is in nanometers. You've heard a lot about that end of the spectrum, but if you go to the other end of the spectrum above 2,000 nanometers, I think we're going to see some analytical tools for dermatology appear at the longer wavelengths. They may include some laser solutions to treat very specific skin conditions. I think what we're going to see more likely is imaging solutions using longer wavelengths to detect where a skin lesion or skin abnormality starts. We already do that with UV light and cancerous cells. We can fluoresce cancer cells with UV light, and we know just how much to carve out, so we don't take a lot of healthy skin with that. Touching on that just real briefly, you'll find in a lot of biological systems that certain types of cells respond to very specific colors or wavelengths of light. The cancer cells with UV light, tattoos will be with a very specific wavelength of light, and any of the other processes like hair removal will again be another wavelength. So that's why you have different types of lasers. That was sort of a fundamental question I skipped over earlier, is because your skin and your body is comprised of many different formulations or biological elements. So you need different colors to address different tissue types.